I made it. I made a shorter video titled "The Church Did Not Replace Israel. The Church is a Type of Israel," and I wanted to make a longer video on that because it's harder to get all that into a 3 minute short. But so, what do I mean by that? The church is a type of Israel, but the church didn't replace Israel. Well, Israel was chosen in the Old Testament, by God through his love of the patriarchs, through Abraham essentially was the father of the nation of Israel and down the line. But they were chosen to bring the Messiah to the world, which is God incarnate, God with us. That's the end game. God is going to dwell with us and be among us. But before that promise came, it came in Jesus when Jesus was with us and he will return. But until then, there was a moral law, the law of Moses, and they were to adhere to that law, and that would set them apart from the rest of the world, the pagan world. And they would bring God the message of there's only one God, the God of the Bible, and they would bring that message to the entire world. So, uh, eventually, ultimately, they rejected God multiple times, although the entire nation didn't reject God. Uh, they did. There's always been a remnant of people that do, and this is kind of a parallel with the church being a type of Israel too. There's a remnant of people that believe, remnant of non-Jewish people that believe in the God of the Bible, while most of the non-Jewish people don't believe in the God of the Bible. It's a very, very small number of people that actually do. So, Israel was chosen with that task, and eventually, when the Messiah came, they, as a nation, rejected him, which was prophesied that they would, you know, and eventually, as a nation, they'll accept him. They'll come back to accept him, and it's going to take drastic things to happen for that to happen, but they will. But until then, the church is a type of Israel. We go and proclaim God to the world in the same way that Israel was chosen to do that. But we're not Israel. The church is not the nation of Israel. We haven't taken the promises and blessings of Israel. And for example, Israel, the God gave promises to Abraham that they would have the land of Israel. So does the church get those blessings now because we believe in the Bible? No, we don't. the the when the Messiah returns, it's going to be the Jewish people that get that receive that full blessing. They're going to have all their land. Um, so and that's okay. That that doesn't mean that you know us non-Jewish believers are not going to have amazing land. Our land will be amazing too, wherever we are. I don't know exactly where we'll be, in the messianic kingdom. I imagine we'll be in the lands that we're from. Like I'm from America, I'll probably be here, and that's fine with me. There's some beautiful places here in America that you know that there's beautiful places all over the world. But I'm just saying that Israel, the descendants of Abraham, are going to be the ones that are in that land. They're going to receive those promises. And so that is to say that the church hasn't replaced Israel. The nation of Israel, the descendants of Abraham, a remnant of them are going to come to faith as a nation. There's going to be a nation of descendants of Abraham, physical descendants of Abraham, that believe in the Messiah that are in the land of Israel in the Messianic kingdom. And the church is basically a sibling, to those descendants of Abraham. We believe in the God of the Bible just like they're going to believe in the God of the Bible. And there's a lot of Jewish people today that believe in God, and they believe in Jesus as the Messiah, God incarnate. And that's who he is. He's God manifest. So, um, until the Messiah returns and the nation of Israel comes to faith, um, the church, which is Jew and Gentile, we are the ones proclaiming the gospel, and which is, it's still a Jewish message. It's the message of the only God, basically. It is what it is. There's only one God, and that is the message of God. And it's the important message of God because it's the reconciliation with God. It's being reconciled to God. You know, um, and we proclaim that message to Gentiles and to Jews. And so, you know, that's how the church is a type of Israel, but we haven't replaced Israel. There's going to be descendants of Abraham outside of the ones that already do believe in Jesus as the Messiah. There's going to be the entire nation that believes on Jesus, and they're going to dwell in that land and receive all the promises that have been made. They're going to have the Messiah as the king over Israel. Their enemies will be destroyed. The land will be blessed. Children will be playing in the streets. All the blessings and promises of the Old Testament are going to be received in the descendants of Abraham in that land. And the Messiah is also going to be the king over the entire world. And so us non-Jewish believers will be ruling and reigning with the Messiah, and we'll be in our own lands, but you see it in like Zechariah, you see it in other places in the Bible. Everybody's going to be celebrating like the Feast of Tabernacles. I think it's Passover, few feasts, and maybe more, maybe all of them. I don't know, but yeah, we're eventually, we'll be ruling and reigning with the Messiah in our own lands, but we'll there's not multiple messages. There's only one message, and we'll all be one people, essentially. So that was just to kind of clarify my previous video, because it's hard to get everything in 3 minutes, and just wanted to make that as clear as possible. For now, we are a type of Israel. We spread the message of God to the world in the gospel, the message of reconciliation, that your sins are paid for, that you can be right with God by faith in Jesus. And so, in that regard, we are a type of Israel, but we haven't replaced Israel. There's going to be the nation of Israel that comes to faith in Jesus as a nation, and he'll return, and that's the end game. So just wanted to make a longer video about that. Thanks for watching. Hope that clarifies things.